Okay, so if you're watching this video, that means you've finished your work and you are ready to check your answers by my calculations. We're going to start with this one, which shows the number of students in a variety of classrooms in a survey in a school. So if we are looking to find the mean, then that means we have to start by adding up all of these numbers. So when you add up all of those numbers, you should have gotten a sum of 320. And we have 11 data values. So when we divide 320 by 11, so I'll show you what I'm doing, we get 29.09, and that is a repeating decimal. So you could represent it by saying 29.09 with a bar notation, or you could just say 29.1 because the 9 would round the 0 up to a 1. So the average or the mean for this set of data is 29.1, which would be right here just past 21 or 29. The median, so I've listed out my data in order, and I want to prove to you that if you accidentally mess up and you can't fit all of yours on one line, it's okay because you can still eliminate. So I can eliminate minimum and maximum until I get to a center value, and you see we got it easy this time. There's only one number in the middle, which means my median for this set of data is 29. The mode is pretty easy. All I have to do is look at the graph to see which one appears the most often. And if you look at the graph, you see that this one has the highest number of dots, which means the mode here is 29. It happens 4 times. And then the range is as simple as taking the highest or the maximum number, which was 33, and subtracting the minimum number or the smallest number, which was 26. So we're going to do 33 minus 26, and we have a range of 7. So if you didn't get that right, you can pause the video and you can fix it now. The next one that we're going to do, I'm just going to skip down to this one, is the candy bar example. So this was the number of students who sold a number of candy bars for a fundraiser. So if I'm looking at this particular set of data, what I want to do is I want to start by adding up all of these numbers. And so what I got when I added all of these up was a total of 67. There are 15 data values, so that means I'm going to take 67 and I'm going to divide it by 15. So I'll show you what this looks like. Not 367, but 67 divided by 15. So this is also a repeating decimal, so it would be 4.6. Very sorry. 4.46, and I know that this is a repeating decimal because the 6 repeats and then my calculator rounds it off. So there should be a bar notation over the 6. If you wish to round that off, then you would round it to 4.47, or I would just probably do 4.5. So the average would be 4.5, which is right here. So you can kind of see how that is the balancing point for my data. The next one is median. So if I'm looking for the median, I'm looking for the middle data value. So I'm going to eliminate, again, I put them in order from least to greatest. And then I'm going to eliminate the 0 and the 8, the 1 and the 8, the 2 with the 7, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 5, 5, 5, and I'm lucky again because I only have one data value in the middle. So that means the median of this set of data is 5. The mode is of the one that appears the most. So again, I can pull that from the graph. All I have to do is look at the graph and I look for one that is repeated the most frequently. And you can tell that usually by the one that is the tallest on your graph. So it appears that 5 is the mode for this particular set of data. And then the last one is the range. So to find the range, I determined the maximum number. The maximum was 8 candy bars. That was the most number of candy bars. And the minimum was 0. So if I want to know the range, I just do 8 minus 0. And that gives me a range of 8 candy bars. Okay, if you need to pause to fix that one, please do. The last one that we're going to go over, and I save this one for last because sometimes whenever we give you fractional parts, students panic because they think that they can't work with fractional parts. And I want you to understand that they work the same way. You can solve them the exact same way. So This one shows the number of hours that students spent at a soccer practice. And these numbers down here represent the time in hours. So this is 1 1/4 hours or 1 hour and 15 minutes. And there were 2 students there. So if I'm looking to find the mean of this set of data, the very first thing I have to do is I have to add it all up. So I want to just show you how I do this. So I'm going to add it all up, and I do 1 and 0.25, and you can certainly put in 1 1/4. So I'll show you really quickly how you do that on your calculator. You put in 1 as your whole number, and then you hit this button right here, which looks like a mixed number, and then you can put in 1 and then arrow down and 4, and then you can do that. Now I am kind of lazy, so I don't really like to do all those button pushes. So what I do is I just convert all of these to decimals. So I know that 1 1/4 is 1.25. So I'm going to add that up, 1.25 and 1.25, because I had 2 of those. And then 1 2/4 is the same thing as 1 1/2. So for that one, I'm going to put 1.5 and 1.5 and 1.5, because I had 3 of those. Now 2 should be easy. Don't have to convert that. So 2, 2, 2, and 2. And some of you are probably thinking, like, why didn't she just put 8 right there? Because I know that 2, 4, 6, 8. And you can certainly do that. Just make sure that you're doing your quick mental math correctly. Then we have 2 1/4. So that's 2.25. And I had 2 of those. And then 2 2/4, which is the same thing as 2 1/2. So that's 2.5. So I end up with an answer of 22. Now, how many data points did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means I have 12 data points. So we're going to divide that by 12. Now I want you to watch what happens, because you have to be able to do this. Since I put my answer in decimal format, my calculator is going to give it back to me as an answer in decimal format. So it gives me 1.83. The 3 is a repeating decimal, so I wrote down a bar notation over my 3. That's perfectly fine if you want to leave it that way, but you have to be very careful, because sometimes if they give the data to you in fractional parts, you want to make sure that the data is representative of what you're looking at. So we want to convert this back to a fraction. So that's as simple as telling your calculator, I want my fraction to become a decimal or my decimal to become a fraction. So we're going to use this gray button right here to get there, just like you have to use the shift button on your computer. We're going to use the second button, and then we're going to push that fraction to decimal, and you see how it puts it right here. And when I hit enter, it tells me that that's the same thing as 1 5/6. So that would be 1 5/6. So 1 5/6 I know is past 1, not quite to 2. So that means it's going to be, I don't know, somewhere like right in here, which would be the center of my data values. That's the average. That's where they are kind of like the balancing point. So if you didn't do that, then you might want to go back and fix that. The next thing that we're going to work on is median, which is the middle of our data set. So I've put mine in order, and I just wrote them in fraction form. And we're just going to eliminate smallest and largest, smallest and largest, smallest and largest, and keep going. And now we have 2 data values in the middle. Now, lucky for us, we have a 2 and a 2. And if you think about numbers, and you have a 2 on a number line and a 2 on a number line, what's in the middle of those 2? Well, it has to be a 2. But if you don't believe me, you can add up 2 plus 2 and gives you 4, and then you divide it by the 2 values that you had. And so the median of my set of data is a 2. Mode is easy. It's the one that appears the most in your graph. So if you look, this one appears the most, and that is the data of 2 hours. So the most common time spent practicing was 2 hours. And the final one says range. So I need to find the maximum value. The maximum value is 2 2/4. I'm just going to write down 2 1/2. You can certainly write down 2 2/4. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to subtract the smallest number, the smallest data value that was represented. Now, 0's on my graph, but there's no data there, so I have to be really careful. The smallest data value represented is 1 1/4. So that's what it looks like. Now, if you're doing this by hand, you definitely want to leave this as 2 2/4. But if you have the luxury of using a calculator, you have 2 1/2 minus 1 1/4. And we see that our range is 1 1/4. So I hope that this was helpful to you. At any time, if you need to review the video or go back and rewind and make sure that your information is correct in your notebook, that's very beneficial.